each mailbox that we have, we show our customers, in fact, we show our customers what Google and Microsoft think about each individual mailbox reputation so that they, don't waste their time sending cold emails from burned mailboxes, because like they can get burned if you receive too many spam complaints, and then you need to, recover them. So we provide a lot of guidance on that as well.
Are you a scaling SaaS founder? Ready to make the leap from leading a team to leading an organization? Join us each week as we refill your think tank with actionable tips and strategies from great business minds you know and those who don't know yet. This is SaaS Fuel with your host, 5-time entrepreneur, SaaS founder, and globetrotting adventurer, Jeff Maines.
Welcome back to the SaaS Fuel podcast, where sending cold email used to feel like tossing a paper airplane into the void and praying it doesn't come back and hit you in the eye. Well, we've changed all that, and I am your host, Jeff Maines. I help B2B SaaS founders like you grow from traction to scale. Here, growth is more than just numbers. It's about crafting a future-proof company, premium valuation, and leaders who build a business of significance while living epic, adventurous lives. Have you ever wondered why some cold emails feel like a personal invite to coffee while others are exiled to the spam folder faster than you can say delete forever? I mean, let's be real. If you're a founder or exec, you've probably dabbled in cold email to land deals or maybe grow your network or just get noticed, right? But when it's done wrong, it's not just awkward, it can be straight up sabotage to your email reputation, tank your deliverability, and make you look like, well, spam. The good news: cold emailing isn't dead, it's just evolving. And the difference between getting ghosted and getting a reply isn't about clever subject lines or clickbait. It's about understanding the unspoken rule of the inbox, managing your sender reputation like a pro, and using metrics that actually matter. A little hint here: open rates, those don't pay the bills. In this episode, we're unpacking the secrets of cold email success, from crafting messages people want to reply to building an email infrastructure that keeps you out of spam jail. We'll even show you how to make those pesky filters work in your favor. How about that? So here's the question: what's standing between you and your next big deal? A better cold email strategy or the courage to actually hit send? Our expert guest last week was Casey Stanton, founder of CMOX. He broke down how to supercharge your marketing with the fractional CMO model. He revealed why understanding unaware consumers is the secret to growth, how to craft your lead magnets your audience can't resist, and why AI is the future of lean, high impact marketing. If you're serious about scaling, don't miss that episode. Our founder last Tuesday was Andrew Mentor, a tech entrepreneur who brings the grit of a Division I athlete, the resilience of an Ironman competitor, and the innovation of a startup founder, all rolled together. Pretty cool stuff. We talked about the challenges of pricing, selling through channels, and how to handle selling when the user and buyer are completely different groups, choosing for completely different reasons. Happens a lot. But if you missed either one of those episodes, go back and give them a listen. They're absolutely fantastic. My guest today is Nikita Bogdarov, the resilient founder of MailDoso. MailDoso is a B2B SaaS poised to hit $5 million in revenue this year. After failing with 7 startups, Nikita cracked the code on inbound sales success and email infrastructure mastery. He's here today to share the game-changing strategies that every SaaS founder absolutely needs to know. Welcome, Nikita Bogdarov. Hey, Nikita, welcome to SaaS Fuel.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Well, you've built successful platforms, backlink swappers, and now MailDoso. Very, very cool. What's been the biggest challenge you faced in scaling the SaaS companies?
The biggest one, well, I guess like in both cases is like the biggest challenge was to build cold email infrastructure. This is what we start, building at backlink swappers. And then, after we pivoted to MailDoso, of course, it's something that we now, working full time on. And it's like the most challenging part because the market is kind of broken. So like it's legal to send cold emails to when you do B2B cold outreach, right? And a lot of B2B companies do that, even like public ones, especially public ones. And then there are public companies that automate, cold outreach, that automate, like they sell leads and stuff for cold outreach as well. But then if you when you try to send cold email from one server to another, that becomes extremely challenging, because there are blacklist organizations that they create a huge pressure on IP address owners, on data centers, on hosting providers, or on internet service providers. So they basically consider everything that's unsolicited is spam, and they start blocking IP addresses, and they can shut down like an entire hosting provider. And there are a lot of cases where hosting providers with tens of thousands of customers were entirely blacklisted, and it's like the end of the game for them by blacklist organizations, because like when your IP addresses in the all your IP addresses are blacklisted, they become useless. You cannot send emails from them, you cannot use them, and so you lose a business. And they can and apart from that, like to acquire IP addresses, it's a huge investment. So that's why it was, and it's still like a challenging part of our business specifically. And then another challenging part, probably a lot of your listeners might be interested in hearing this. I always had a feeling, and I still have it, but like right now our team is much bigger. But I had a feeling that you cannot relax at any moment, because every time something happens, and it's like it can be critical for the company, and it's like literally every day something, you like you have to deal with fire all the time, like every
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, server issues, deliverability challenges are huge. And I mean, especially when it comes to cold email, I mean, how have you addressed those, and how do you ensure a smooth customer experience?
Yeah, we basically we did a math and figure out the processes, and like currently it's just like processes. It's like we have somebody who's responsible for each part of the process. Like basically the first part of the process is acquire IP addresses. Of course, we cannot do this under like under our company name, otherwise they will be shut down. So we have to kind of find hosting providers that are not specifically against that, and then acquire IP addresses, rent IP addresses from them at scale. So currently we work with 22 different hosting providers, and we have multiple accounts on each of them. And then basically we have other processes like IP rotation mechanism. It's a technology that we build that automatically rotate out. It basically, we monitor IP reputation, and if it's blacklisted or reputation deteriorates, we basically remove this IP address from a pool, and then we start like recovering process. And then right now everything works, smooth. And then, you know, yeah.
So is it just a bit of a cat and mouse game then between, sending emails and then removing servers and yeah. So is it a constant rotation? Is it domains and IP addresses, or how does it work today?
Yeah, it's in the constant rotation. Also, there is a lot of additional layers of protection that needed to ensure, smooth customer experience. We also, like, apart from IP address reputation, we monitor reputation of each mailbox that we have. We show our customers, in fact, we show our customers what Google and Microsoft think about each individual mailbox reputation, so that they don't waste their time sending cold emails from burnt mailboxes, because like they can get burned if you receive too many spam
Sure.
complaints, and then you need to recover them. So we provide a lot of guidance on that as well.
Very, very helpful. So, cold email, does it still work?
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, I mean, you've boarded 8,000 customers in a year, so obviously you're doing something right. Very
Yeah.
different than other companies in the industry. What is it that really sets MailDoso apart from, other companies out there that are sending mail?
So first, yeah. So like clearly, cold email is working. We see a lot of our customers extremely successful with cold email. Some of them like literally built businesses around that and making millions. So and it works great for like in many industries. Although it requires some, sometimes it requires to people to kind of to be creative with their go to market. And then why they choose us? Well, first of all, because they don't have this problem with IP blacklisting, because there are some other alternative solutions on the market that provides you with a dedicated IP, and like they sell you a server. Think of like SendGrid. In theory, you can go to SendGrid and rent an IP address from them, but then it's gonna get blacklisted because they give you just one, and you don't have like all the processes and all the tools that we have and all the automations. So you kind of at certain point, well, SendGrid, first of all, they don't allow cold email. They offboard companies that use their IP addresses for cold email because they own these IP addresses. And as I said, blacklist organizations, they can blacklist all their IP addresses at once, and that's why they came against this. But then, in theory, you can like rent a server and start sending cold emails. Then you need a lot of technical knowledge, and then you will run into IP blacklisting, which is a nightmare for somebody who don't have all the automation and stuff. But then we also fully automate like domain setup, mailbox creation process, which is literally so like something you can with MailDoso you can buy 100 domains and set up 400 mailboxes for your BDR team in less than 15 minutes. So
Wow.
we automated entire process, and then we also can provide with API if it's something that if you want to create mailboxes out of your Google Sheets and or using Zapier for that. And then also we of course we monitor, this is something that I believe nobody else have on the market, is we monitor mailbox reputation, and then we inform you when it's gotten burned, and we also provide you with information where exactly your emails are landing. So like our customers send emails, and then we have a dashboard in our members area where they can see where exactly those emails land on Google or on Microsoft. And it's helpful to adjust your strategy so that okay, so now my emails start landing to spam and I need to update my copy. I guess this is a huge factor, and a lot of customers say they love our solution because of all these factors. But then there is more. I guess like one of the biggest thing is that we like entire company is driven to become number one in the cold email deliverability space and provide way better cold email deliverability than anything on the market. And I must say that we are so close to it. Like by the end of this year, it will be like results in 99% of the cases, results you would get from MailDoso will be incomparably, better than results you would get with any other, email solution.
Wow. That is impressive. I mean, spam filters have become a lot more sophisticated over time, and so how has your approach to cold email evolved to match that, and not just beat spam filters, but actually provide higher quality messages to get through and add more value?
Yeah. So like you correct, like you will always outrun spam filters if you provide create value to your customers. And this is something that we always share with our customers, that eventually it all depends on like how many spam complaints you receive. So like if you send something, valuable, and you make using like different AI tools look at us, if you did your homework, and you know spend some time analyzing their specific situation and reaching out with something that's relevant and not just like mass campaign, then you always will win. But then there is a lot of automations and a lot of stuff on the background that we do, and that will make your life a little bit easier. So, and then, well, eventually spam filters is just, it's just a formula, it's math. So knowing that you can, do something, like we can do something on our end to kind of counter it and help our clients succeed.
I like that. Yeah, so it's really it is about that spam complaints. So if you're spending good stuff, spam complaints are not near as much of a concern as if it's just a blast of "Hey, buy my stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people still, like, even with newsletters, they still receive spam complaints,
Yep.
because
No, that's true.
even if they subscribe to your newsletter, they like you might receive some spam complaints. So it's like
Yeah,
natural,
that
but
makes
sometimes
sense.
it creates a big problems. I think the next market that we might think of going after is newsletters, because a lot of companies, even big ones, they sometimes reach out to like literally with millions of users. They reach out to
Yeah.
us, and then the numbers that they share about like their newsletter efficiency, they are incomparably, they just so low comparing to something that our clients that do cold email get, and they desperately looking for a solution, because most of their emails, even sent to their own subscribers, end up in spam or in promotion folder. And then there is, I think there is a huge opportunity on this market as well.
Yeah. Well, what are some key metrics that founders should use to monitor their, email campaigns and make sure that they're effective? What is a metric we should pay attention to, and maybe what are some vanity metrics that we think matter that really don't?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I believe the people should forget about open rates, specifically in the cold email game, because starting this year, Google, they start showing a giant banner. So if you use open rate tracking in your cold emails, it will show banner to your leads saying that this email contains hidden images. It might be a spam, and then there will be like another report spam button, that first of all, it will already put your email into position where the users might be a little bit suspicious, and they will trust you even less. And the secondly, you will receive a lot more spam complaints naturally, just because they made it, this button a little bit bigger. So certainly it's a vanity metric right now. So there are a few key indicators that might tell you that your cold email campaign is successful. First is a reply rate. You should aim for, depending on type of campaign you run, but in worst case scenario, like if you get less than 1% reply rate, it's probably you have deliverability issues, meaning most of your emails land in spam. And then you should aim to kind of increase this percentage. Some of the people get like up to 40% reply rate. I believe this is the highest that I saw. um, they did a brilliant job, crafting a compelling offer, good email. They invest some time into personalization and then sent those emails. Results were amazing. Another metric that is a huge indication, like this is one of the most important metrics when it comes to like message market fit, because sometimes like your cold email campaigns never work from the beginning. You need to kind of experiment a little bit before you find something that actually works. And then the indication of that, it might be percentage of positive replies. And usually what we're looking for is to get more than 50% of positive replies. Some of them will be like, stop emailing me, unsubscribe, maybe some swear words. And then yeah, and then there will be some percentage of positive replies. And then if it's less than 50%, it's better to experiment and like try to find any other, words or offer or approach or angle. But depends on your situation. Sometimes even like 20% positive reply rate might be great in some industries. And then, of course, you want to closely monitor your inbox placement rate, what percentage of emails land in inbox. We provide this information right inside the product, so you can just log in into your account and see what percentage of emails you sent to Google land in spam and in inbox, and the same for Microsoft. So these are two biggest email providers in the corporate world. That's why it's important to pay attention where your emails land specifically there. And then, but there are some other great tools that can provide you this information if you use alternative vendors to send cold email, like Lockups, great solution. Also, MailReach, we use them a lot. So yeah, these are the core metrics for cold email.
How do we personalize cold email? There's some tools out there that do a little bit of that, but dealing with hundreds or thousands of recipients, I mean, how do we personalize those in a way that's authentic and makes sense, but then not just send the same template replacing the name, for example?
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of different approaches to that. So one of the most basic one is you can ask ChatGPT or like to basically create a complement for this website. And then there are tools that might provide you with some additional information, like how active this person on LinkedIn, maybe some of the latest posts. You can also use some triggers to kind of to be able to personalize a little bit more their emails that you send to them. For example, you might monitor all posts in social media about specific brand and then reach out to people mentioning that, hey, I saw your post about this brand. And then some companies, what they do, they collect hundreds of ideas like that. Okay, let's monitor posts about their competitors. Okay, that then let's analyze all the case studies they have on a website, and then they create hundreds of like either triggers or automations that help you to personalize email to each specific situation. And then you basically, instead of using just one personalization tactic, you use like hundreds of them at the same time, depending on the situation, and it might look like a well-crafted research. One of the greatest examples, I just recently received a cold email, and in the email they said something like, I'm so angry on myself that I didn't know your solution before, because, and then she basically kind of explained the problem that we solve, and that and that she personally experienced this problem. And then I thought it might be a great tactic that you can use. You basically can find, so if you target, I don't know, software companies, you can basically, find all the companies that kind of challenge or like disrupt certain markets. And then you can use exactly the same, approach and exactly the same wordings to kind of to reach out to them. And it's going to be relevant in most of the cases. So
Yeah, that makes sense. And what about, like spin text tools, things like that, that mix up the message or change it so it's not exactly the same thing, maybe some different types of templates.
Yeah, Spintex definitely helps with making your emails land in inbox more often. So it works this way. Some people will click on spam button, and then Google and Microsoft, they will spin up their machine learning algorithms, and they will identify certain keywords that were, their job will be to find what's common between all those emails that were marked as spam. They will find certain keywords and will start blocking emails that contain these keywords. And then when you use Spintax, you basically make each email look a little bit unique, and also you make certain percentage of your emails that won't contain these keywords, so they will more likely to land in inbox. Yeah, so the Spintax is a very powerful tool for cold email.
Yeah. That's something. Is that something that your tool does, or is that something that like your tool sends the email, but then you use another one like for composing, editing, and things like that? Am I understanding that right? Ready to future proof your company and scale to new heights? Dive into the ultimate resource designed just for SaaS founders and C suite executives. Champion Leadership Group gives you an unfair advantage in scaling up revenue and outwitting competitors. Imagine solving your biggest scaling headaches and hitting 5, 10, 20 million ARR and beyond with ease. We take away the guesswork and the grunt work and replace it with framework by supporting you with our on demand fractional C suite team, a powerful operating system built into software, and a thriving community of fellow scaling SaaS founders. That's how we make it happen. If you're stuck at your current revenue level, this is your ticket out. Feel like your company is the world's best kept secret? We amplify your success. And hey, if you're already crushing it but too busy to breathe, we got your back. We'll free up 20% of your time in the first month. Now is the time to upgrade from traction to scale. If you're ready to work smarter and not just grind harder, schedule a 10-minute growth brainstorm. Completely free, not a sales call. You can't buy anything on there. And we will pinpoint the number one thing blocking revenue. Visit championleadership.com. That's where leaders evolve and companies transform.
Yeah, mostly like our tool is mailboxes. We buy domains, create mailboxes, and deliver emails. But then Spintex, our clients usually use other platforms to schedule their campaigns to buy leads, like
Sure.
Apollo, Woodpecker, Smart Lead, and others.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, there's been some interesting changes, I think, for email in general, and I think probably affects cold email maybe more than others. And that's Apple rolled out Hide My Email. Google is followed up with shielded email. So they're kind of like I don't know if fake addresses is the right thing, but they're essentially their aliases. So if you sign up for something, you give them you know your alias address, and then ultimately it forwards to your account. But then you can turn those off and on at will. Uh, what's your take on that? Do you think that's going to affect marketing via cold email a lot, or do you think that's nothing really to worry about?
Well, cold email marketers probably wouldn't worry much about this because like they use slightly different sources of information. It's mostly a challenging thing for those people who send email newsletters or to e-commerce shops that send,
So
uh,
maybe opt-ins are going to be hurt more by than cold
yeah,
email.
yeah, for sure. Because like you email companies and name of a specific person in this company, so it's not that difficult to find their email.
Yeah, businesses for sure. I think consumers, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that over time.
Yeah, with
And if it really is about privacy or if they're just making that on the front end and then the companies are just selling the data on the back end so that they are the only source of that data then, of the real data.
yeah, kind of. We don't allow reaching out to individual like consumers for using our mailboxes. So we created a solution specifically for B2B cold email, and we suspend customers who violate this rule. So, and there were quite a few cases. So like most of the cold email marketers, they do, and then what I see in the space, they reach out to companies. So this thing doesn't really affect them.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. B2B is definitely a much more fun space to play.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Uh, well, what are some of the big mistakes that companies make that land their emails in spam, and how do they avoid that?
One of the biggest mistake, I guess, is to kind of delegate cold email to BDRs. This is, I believe, fundamentally the biggest problem, because usually it's like fresh out of school.
Right.
Yeah, and they kind of, but like cold emailing these days is quite saturated market. You need to be you need to have like certain experience to craft a good cold email. You need to have certain experience, and so it's more and more popular becomes to have like a person who handle this full time, and it's usually like tech savvy person who's many years on the market. Another big problem that I see, or mistake, is that companies often they create one sequence and then they use it for years, and somehow they book some meetings using this sequence. But what we usually advise to our customers is to change it every week or two, depending on its performance. First of all, because um, you want to outrun spam filters. They will eventually like figure out a pattern in your campaigns. But then also you want to experiment more. Even when you find something that's working, it's worth keep experimenting to kind of find maybe even more winning angle. Or yeah, so these are two biggest mistakes, I think, that are just.
Okay. You've got a cold email deliverability guide, and we'll make that available in the show notes. And it's got some great information in it. Super effective. What are maybe three quick tips from the guide that SaaS founders can implement right away?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning it. Yeah, indeed, we collect. So we basically collect all the information that that marketers need to know, or founders need to know, to stay away from spam folder. Every single advice in this guide is important, so it's kind of, so if you follow everything but miss one point, this one point might become a problem in certain situations. So we always advise to kind of follow all of them. But if was like, if there was one advice that I would give, it would be always update your email campaigns regularly. This is probably one of the most important ones. If you change your first email, specifically the first email is the most important. If it landed in inbox, the follow-ups will most likely to land in inbox as well. So if you completely change your first email every week, it will be very difficult for spam filters to block your campaigns.
That makes a lot of sense. Any other tips we can implement from the guide?
Yeah, of course, like, to use a lot of spin tags. Always disable open rate tracking. Ideally, if you send plain text emails. If your cold email tool doesn't allow to send plain text emails, I recommend switching to something else, because just plain text emails, they perform way better than anything else.
You mentioned domain warming. And so tell me a little bit about that. How should domain warming work, and what's the impact? What are the steps involved in warming a domain in the right way?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, in general, newly created mailboxes, newly registered domains, they kind of suspicious. So you want to at least to wait for 2 to 4 weeks before starting outreach. And by the way, we never recommend sending cold emails from your primary domain because it can create huge problems. I've seen so many situations where companies say, all my emails to my own customers land in inbox, all our in spam folder, sorry.
And spam,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And like all our deals, like we send to emails to potential customers and they don't get them. And it creates a lot of problems. So that's why it's always better to use secondary domains. So you buy them, you wait for 2 to 4 weeks before start sending them, start sending cold emails. But then there are also warm up tools that will help you to create positive reputation for your domain and for your mailbox. Essentially, you connect your mailboxes to one of the warm up pools, and they start sending and emails to other email accounts in the warm up pool, and those email accounts will reply back to them. And it's essentially, two AI just talking to each other. And that mechanism allow will make email providers think like that this domain has good reputation, and therefore when you send cold emails they will more likely to land in inbox. And essentially what I found is that if you warm up your mailboxes, if you warm up your domains, you will get 50% more replies. So it's critical for cold email to warm up your domain and mailboxes.
Yeah. That is significant.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of misconceptions, I think, about cold email. What is one myth that is floating out there that you can debunk for founders? And yeah, so we think it's one way, but it's really different. What would one of those myths be?
Well, a lot of people think that cold email is bad, and then that cold emailers are spammers. But then in reality, like, can you imagine? We literally help save people's lives. We have a lot of medtech companies among our customers that, like, specifically we have a customer with user ID number 5. They literally one of the first our customers, and they build software for hospitals in the states. And they literally we help them reaching out to those hospitals and make them more efficient and basically save more people. And then there are so many cases like that when people might think cold email is bad, but then there is like so many cases where it's actually good and creates a lot of opportunities for other people. Sometimes one cold email might mean that somebody will be able to send his kid into a university, or a huge opportunity to grow business and create more jobs, or as an example with here, like save more people lives. So I believe this is one of the biggest misconception about cold email.
Yeah, yeah. It actually, yeah, it does have value and it still works.
Yeah, that's for sure.
There's no question about that. Excellent. Well, where can people find more about you online and about MailDoso as well?
Yeah, well, of course, on our website, maildoso.com, we have called the mail deliverability guide there. It's very easy to find. And then also, we quite active on LinkedIn. We share a lot of tips and advice on how to make your cold email game more efficient and win more clients with it. So I recommend following up us on LinkedIn as well.
Fantastic. So much good information. And we will definitely link to that guide on the website. Nikita, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for being on SaaS Fuel.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks again, Nikita, for coming on the show and sharing your journey and insights. You can learn more about Nikita and MailDoso at maildoso.team. Maildoso.team. Real important there. As always, all links, highlights, resources, and full show notes are available at saasfuel.com. And of course, be sure to check us out on YouTube as well. It's at Champion Leadership is our channel. We've got full video episodes, training, outtakes, Lots of fun stuff out there, shorts, everything you could want right there on YouTube at Champion Leadership. And thought leaders share. Share this episode with your colleague who calculated the velocity of their rolling office chair just to prove they're technically commuting while they're working remotely. Everyone who shares this week gets a futuristic hover chair activity tracker that monitors how many laps you spend in your seat and converts them to imaginary air miles. Who doesn't want that? How can the principles of martial arts and military strategy be applied to winning in the fast paced world of sales and marketing? Well, our next guest, John Golden, is the Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer at Pipeliner CRM. He's here to share his deep understanding of sales strategy with a dose of martial arts discipline. This is definitely an episode you don't want to miss. What if AI could revolutionize how your team learns and grows, creating personalized training experiences at scale? Join us next Tuesday on our founder episode as Luis Garcia, president of Pete, shares how technology is reshaping workforce education and solving the toughest challenges in corporate training. I'll see you next time, and as always, enjoy the journey.
Thanks for listening to SaaS Fuel. Full show notes for each episode, which includes a summary, key takeaways, quotes, and any resources mentioned, are available at saasfuel.com. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're enjoying the content and getting value from these episodes, please leave us a rating and review at ratethispodcast.com/saasfuel. We'll be sure to read these out on future episodes.